The El Chapo brothers are infamous as some of the most notorious criminals in the drug world, particularly known for being among the most dangerous crime lords globally. El Chapo stood out for his audacity and sharp instincts, entering the drug world at an early age. Thanks to his leadership skills and fearlessness, he quickly rose to become the boss of the infamous Sinaloa cartel in Mexico. Although he was arrested multiple times, but El Chapo's exceptional prison escape abilities kept law enforcement on their toes for years. Nevertheless, every crime eventually meets justice, and El Chapo's reign also came to an end. Born on April 4th, 1957, or December 25th, 1984, according to some sources, the life of this drug lord started in a poor family, where he often suffered from his father's abuse. At the age of 15, El Chapo began working in the forest to support his mother. By the age of 20, realizing that his hometown had no opportunities for a better life, he followed his uncle and joined an organized crime gang. His nickname El Chapo, meaning shorty, was due to his small stature, standing at only about 1.68 meters as an adult. In the 1970s, El Chapo began working for drug lord Hector Palma, overseeing drug shipments and the transport of narcotics near the U.S. border by airplane. Being highly ambitious, El Chapo quickly caught the attention of powerful crime bosses and gradually gained more influence in the criminal organization. El Chapo's working style closely resembled that of the infamous Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar. He valued discipline, punctuality, and was willing to kill anyone who dared to betray or oppose him. Those who knew him understood that no matter how tempting an offer might be from competitors, betraying El Chapo was never an option. Thanks to his professionalism and ruthlessness, El Chapo was introduced to Felix Gallardo, one of the most powerful crime bosses in Mexico at the time. Initially, El Chapo worked as a driver for Gallardo, but he gradually moved up, managing warehouses and overseeing drug transportation from Colombia to Mexico. During the 1970s and 1980s, Mexico was still a minor transit hub for South American drug traffickers, while the real power was in Colombia. However, by the mid-1980s, U.S. law enforcement increased pressure on drug gangs in the Caribbean, shifting drug trade operations towards Mexico. This development turned Mexico into a major drug trafficking center with immense profits and less interference from the U.S. government. At this time, authorities began infiltrating drug gangs with undercover agents to gather information. One such agent was Kiki Camarena, an American operative who went undercover in the drug cartel of Felix Gallardo, providing key intel that led to raids and the seizure of vast amounts of marijuana from large farms. This enraged Gallardo, and shortly afterward, Kiki Camarena was captured, brutally tortured, and eventually killed. The anger over Kiki's death sparked a massive manhunt by both the U.S. and Mexico to find those responsible. This pursuit unintentionally created an opportunity for El Chapo Guzman to rise and gain more control in the drug trafficking network. By 1989, Felix Gallardo was arrested and his cartel began to crumble. El Chapo quickly took over key drug trafficking routes from Sinaloa to Baja California, extending into the U.S. states of Arizona and California. The U.S. government truly began paying attention to El Chapo in 1987 when they realized he was the real leader of the Sinaloa cartel. A report later revealed that El Chapo had smuggled approximately 2 tons of marijuana and 4,700 kilograms of cocaine into the U.S., generating over $1.5 million in profit. With his sophisticated methods, El Chapo's gang dominated the drug market from Mexico to the U.S., earning him a spot on the list of the world's wealthiest individuals. Initially, El Chapo's cartel controlled just one smuggling route from western Mexico to the U.S. state of Arizona. However, by 1993, his group was transporting up to 3 tons of drugs monthly across the border, particularly into Los Angeles. Cocaine suppliers from Colombia transported their shipments to Mexico using private jets or even as luggage on commercial flights. To move drugs into the U.S., El Chapo and his associates employed various methods such as container ships, fishing boats, speedboats, and even submarines. While marijuana was a common product in Mexico and easy to produce, but it was more easily detected compared to cocaine. Therefore, El Chapo's gang often concealed drugs using extremely ingenious methods. They even used cannons to shoot packages of marijuana from Mexico across the border into Arizona. In the 1990s, as the methamphetamine market exploded in the U.S., the Sinaloa cartel quickly seized the opportunity to capitalize on this lucrative drug. Initially, they offered free samples to attract customers along with promotions like giving away extra methamphetamine when large quantities of marijuana were purchased. As demand grew, the cartel built larger labs capable of producing vast amounts of meth. El Chapo's greatest contribution to his drug empire was orchestrating the construction of sophisticated underground tunnels for smuggling drugs from Mexico into the U.S. One of his most famous tunnels was built in the late 1980s. From the outside, it appeared to be just an ordinary house in the border town of Agua Prieta, but inside it housed a complex mechanical system. A hidden door concealed beneath a foosball table would open to reveal a secret tunnel leading to San Luis, Arizona, when activated by a hydraulic system. When this tunnel was discovered, El Chapo quickly changed tactics. He opened a canning factory in Guadalajara, using pre-packaged food cans to hide cocaine and shipped them to grocery stores in California. He also concealed drugs in tins of pepper and used trains to transport his goods into the U.S. The profits from drug sales were then sent back to Mexico in suitcases stuffed with U.S. dollars. Corrupt customs officers at the airports were bribed, allowing these suitcases to pass through without inspection. By the time El Chapo was captured, the Sinaloa cartel he led had become the most powerful and terrifying force in Mexico. They trafficked tons of cocaine and marijuana into the U.S. by sea, air, and land. Even Southeast Asia became a market for the drugs supplied by this cartel. Thanks to drugs, El Chapo quickly became a billionaire, ranked as the 10th richest person in Mexico with a total fortune of over $1 billion. El Chapo wasn't just a drug lord, he also built an entire transportation empire to support his operations. He was listed by the U.S. Department of the Treasury as the most dangerous drug lord in history, surpassing even Pablo Escobar, and was dubbed the godfather of global drug crime. Moreover, El Chapo's legendary prison escapes only added to his notoriety. In 1993, he was arrested in Guatemala, but in 2001 he escaped by bribing prison guards and hiding in a laundry cart. In 2014, El Chapo was recaptured, but that didn't stop him from maintaining contact with his family and associates. While incarcerated at the Altiplano prison, he secretly ordered the construction of a tunnel leading directly to his cell. The tunnel, more than 1.6 kilometers long, was fully equipped with electricity, ventilation, water, and was completed within a few months. In July 2015, El Chapo successfully escaped once again. To carry out this plan, he spent tens of billions of pesos to bribe the entire prison system and even sent his associates to Germany to study tunneling technology. The fierce battle to capture El Chapo for the final time in 2016 is remembered for its intensity. This battle took place in the quiet town of Los Mochis, in Sinaloa, Mexico, his hometown. One morning in January, under a light drizzle, the Mexican military received information from locals that several gunmen were hiding in a white-painted house. The house and its visitors had been under close surveillance for days, with all phone communications wiretapped. The Mexican government mobilized 17 Special Forces Marines along with anti-drug police and the army to surround the house. El Chapo's side had fewer than 20 men, but they were well-trained and heavily armed. His gunmen spotted the government forces early and began shooting. However, after a brief firefight, the police emerged victorious. Upon entering the house, they found numerous bullet casings and, outside, 2 armored vehicles along with several heavy weapons. Despite the successful raid, but El Chapo had once again disappeared from the scene as if he had the ability to vanish, prompting a scenario straight out of a Hollywood blockbuster. The Mexican government mobilized a large force to hunt him down, including combat helicopters for support. All entry and exit points in the town were sealed off, and the Marine commandos even had to crawl into the sewer system, using flashlights to follow El Chapo's trail for 4 hours. At around 10 p.m., El Chapo emerged from a manhole near Fatima Hospital approximately 800 meters from the scene. He then stole a Volkswagen Jetta, driving it a few hundred meters before abandoning it. He hijacked a red Ford Focus by threatening its driver at gunpoint at a red light at an intersection. El Chapo drove south heading toward the Sierra Madre Mountains, where locals once revered him as a Robin Hood. However, in his panic, he mistakenly drove north, toward Highway 15, which connects Los Mochis to Nogales. The owner of the stolen car quickly reported it to the police, and just 10 kilometers from Los Mochis, the Ford Focus was stopped by a police patrol. They immediately subdued El Chapo and took him back into custody. When El Chapo was imprisoned, his cell had concrete walls a meter thick, and he was constantly moved to prevent another escape. The prison was monitored 24/7 with thousands of security cameras, guard dogs, and even tanks and armored vehicles guarding the facility. However, even with these security measures, people were still uneasy about the drug lord nicknamed the King of Tunnels. Eventually, El Chapo was extradited to the U.S. and held under strict surveillance. He was taken to New York for trial, and security around the courtroom was so tight that the area surrounding the courthouse was closed off weekly with police, escort vehicles, and helicopters monitoring his journey from the prison to the courthouse. El Chapo's lavish lifestyle was revealed during the U.S. trial on November 27, 2018, when a witness named Miguel Angel Martinez, who had worked under him, testified. According to the testimony, El Chapo's drug trade boomed in the early 1990s, fueling his extravagant lifestyle. El Chapo smuggled tons of cocaine through secret tunnels along the border, hiding drugs in oil tankers with hidden compartments. The massive amounts of money from this operation were transported back to Culiacan, Mexico. Each month, El Chapo's 3 private planes carried an average of $10 million in cash per trip. He also used private jets to fly around Mexico visiting his properties, including a beach house with a private zoo that housed lions, tigers, and black panthers. The zoo even had a small train that transported visitors around the grounds. El Chapo also owned a yacht named Chapito and was known for his extravagant spending. He was particularly generous with women, buying them houses, cars, and expensive jewelry. He loved to travel the world, visiting Las Vegas just to gamble and Switzerland for anti-aging treatments. According to witnesses, El Chapo wielded power equivalent to that of the President of Mexico, a shocking testament to the influence of this notorious drug lord. In January 2020, Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador emphasized his determination to end the era of corruption and reform the government system. He took office in December 2018 with a promise to root out corruption which had deeply entrenched itself in Mexico. In his New Year's speech, he reiterated this message, highlighting that significant progress had been made toward this goal. Previously, figures like El Chapo, who held power and influence on par with the president, made cracking down on crime a challenging task. However, that era has come to an end. On July 17, 2019, El Chapo, Mexico's notorious drug lord, was sentenced to life imprisonment plus 30 years. Additionally, he was ordered to pay a $12.6 billion fine, the amount earned from his drug trafficking operations. Earlier in February 2019, a jury at the federal court in New York convicted El Chapo of multiple charges, including trafficking cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, and marijuana into the U.S. over a span of 25 years, as well as money laundering, illegal possession of firearms, and involvement in criminal organizations. All these charges carried life sentences. Prosecutors also requested the judge impose an additional 30-year sentence for El Chapo's use of weapons in criminal activities and demanded that he pay fines based on his drug trafficking revenue. Following his sentencing, El Chapo is expected to serve his time in the highest security federal prison in Colorado, a supermax facility from which no one has ever escaped. Attorney Gerald Shargel also confirmed that El Chapo would be held at Supermax, a place renowned for its strict security, considered the toughest prison in the U.S. How do you feel about this story? Share your thoughts in the comments below for everyone to see. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support me. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.